Yes, good morning and welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite sports update channel. Apologies, we are late. I had a bit of a work overload to get through this morning before I got to the broadcast. Um, bit of an overflow from what was a very long weekend. But it's a pleasure to be back for a Monday sports update. I will try to keep maybe this one a bit short. I do not think we will go over 30 minutes, but if we do, then kindly indulge with us. Kindly indulge with us as we deliver the absolute best of whatever there is for an update for you from your respective clubs, especially when it comes to transfers and things of that regard, and perhaps even more. So, anyways, where do we even get started with today's conversation? Because it looks like our audio is set. Okay, maybe let's begin on the FIFA Club World Cup update because some of you may have forgotten, but action is still on in the FIFA Club World Cup. We have semi-finals to play, and those semi-finals will come on Tuesday at 10 p.m. East African time when Fluminense play Chelsea, while on Wednesday, Paris Saint-Germain will be up against Real Madrid at the same kickoff time. So as we draw closer to the climax of this month-long tournament that kicked off on the 15th of June, for those of you that do remember, composition of 32 teams that have been out there banging it. Of course, it was quite surprising when FIFA slashed their ticket prices to about $13, way less from $150, $200 and things of that regard. But again, apparently some fans were getting a couple of refunds here and there, depending. But it is what it is. We move on regardless in that respect. So what I want then quickly, we will go and look at transfers because that's the gist of the conversation, of the football conversation at the moment. But before we move to transfers, I wish to let you know that we do have a couple of videos for you. Already one was published yesterday, talking about the official unveiling of Martin Zubimendi and how that deal came to pass, or how Arsenal came to close that deal. Thank you to all of you who have watched that video. Yes, for all of you that have watched that video, thank you so much. It did publish yesterday night, and then this morning at about 11 a.m. Expect another video about Noni Madweke, who will be speaking about at great length, given what things have looked like in the last couple of days. So yeah, let's get the conversation going. Let's get the conversation going on that front as well. Then, oh, apologies, there's a bit of a power surge. But anyways, so we'll just go to the channel under the video section and check out that content. And do not also forget to check out under the short section. Usually there is more updates for you there. We talk about former Manchester United defender Gabriel Hens joining Arsenal. Then we talk about Thomas Partey's charges and many things. We talk about Barcelona and Bayern Munich's target, committing his future to Athletic Bilbao and things of that nature. So there's plenty of videos for you to go catch up on. Leah, hi Leah, how are you doing this morning? Is it morning on your side? Because for me it's about 22 minutes to the top of the hour. That's of 10 a.m. Where I'm coming to you live from Kampala, Uganda. But do let us know where you're joining us from and what time it is. I do know for a fact that sometimes I'm live here in the morning and it's late in the night for some people. So and they're planning to go to bed. I think usually in the United States and Philippines, like that, due to difference in time zones. So you say I'm doing good. It's about 12:30 a.m. in New Mexico. Exactly. That's the thing about US people. But thank you so much, Team US. You've really, really been kind to me. So please, dear, consider subscribing to the channel as well. But also leave me a like on this broadcast. So what I've come to experience is that pretty much like people in India. Okay, the difference is that for people in India, they are only they are 2 hours ahead of us, I think. But even when I come for my late night broadcasts, which usually come at about 11 p.m. East African time, and for them it's like 1 a.m., they usually come on the channel and support. So the same thing has happened with USA people when I'm doing these morning live broadcasts. They do come and support. I remember a gentleman, I think from Illinois, who was here with us, and it was late in the night, and they were with us for a good amount of minutes before they went off to bed. So Team USA, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Team India, UK, and every single one of you out there that does support what we do here on Football Tribe UG channel. So it's a sports channel, it's a football channel, particularly bringing you the latest of updates from across the Premier League, from your favorite clubs in the Premier League and beyond, in as far as football is concerned, for as long as there's a news of substance in regards to football, we will be here to bring it to you. Anyways, so a lot did happen during the course of the weekend, but like I said, I think majority of the news was dominated, especially when it came to transfers. Majority of that news was dominated by Arsenal's pursuit for Victor Gyökeres, their push for Noni Madueke, reaching personal terms, or reaching agreements on personal terms with both of those players. Then the news of Ethan Nwaneri, yet to agree to a new contract with Arsenal. The player wants to stay. The agent is trying to push for bigger things for the player in terms of guaranteed playing time and things of that nature. Got to discuss about that last night, and also in one of the videos that I did publish. You say you're such a great person. Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you so much. So then you look at that news, and then of course what Chelsea have been able to do in the whole of last week, announcing the signing of João Pedro, then Jamie Gittens is in, and things of that nature. So things have been really moving quite fast on different fronts, especially for Arsenal. Arsenal unveiling Martin Zubimendi. That was yesterday. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Then we do know that possibly this week, today, most of the players from many clubs across the Premier League, across the top clubs in Europe, okay, not across the major leagues in Europe and beyond, players are returning to training. Back in Uganda, Villa did report back already to training for the preseason. Teams like Express Vipers are expected to return to training, I think, this week as well. So I have to go now. I have to sleep. It's okay. Really understandable here. But thank you so much for sparing a couple of minutes to be with us this morning and tonight on your end. So really appreciate it. If you do find a moment in your free time, do not forget to recommend a Football Tribe video channel for us to help us continue to grow. But thank you so much, really. We do appreciate that. So that's what basically has been happening at Manchester United. Things are not different. Players do report back today for preseason at Arsenal, at Spurs, etc. So now the difference here is that for Manchester United, as they return for preseason, 5 of their players are not going to be returning, at least just yet. That's Marcus Rashford, Antony, Tyler Malacia, Alejandro Garnacho, and Jordan Sancho, because all those 5 players have apparently asked to leave Manchester United this summer, and they've been given an extended period of preseason, off to try and find new clubs where they think they can play their football form. For Marcus Rashford, Barcelona are interested. Apparently, the player would prefer a move away from the Premier League if he's to leave Manchester United, which is basically writing on the wall because his shirt number 10 has already been issued to the new signing in Matthias Cunha. So then Jordan Sancho, Juventus are really, really pushing for him. They want to sign him. They are willing to offer Douglas Luiz or Dusan Vlahovic in exchange to sign Jordan Sancho. That is, of course, pending an agreement on personal terms on player side. Man United were now willing to sell, but they want at least 25 million pounds. Juventus do not want to pay that much. I think they are willing to cut their losses in some form or shape on Douglas Luiz, who they signed only a season ago, for about 45 million euros plus 5 million in expected add-ons. So, excuse me. So that's the situation. And I was speaking about this situation yesterday in regards to Manchester United, and I was telling people that if I were a Manchester United advisor, if I was Jason Wilcox, if I were Omar Barida, or anybody that is connected in any form or shape in regards to transfer business at Manchester United, I'll be jumping up to the offer of Douglas Luiz and maybe Dusan Vlahovic, depending on what Juventus are willing to offer, and maybe plus some cash in exchange, because Douglas Luiz is a very, very experienced player, still 27 years of age. In comparison, Jordan Sancho is only 2 years ahead. Things have not worked for him well at Juventus, but we do know he is quite well familiar with the Premier League, having played at Aston Villa before he left. Arsenal were one of those teams that have been interested in his services. Then you look at the situation with Alejandro Garnacho. He would prefer to stay in the Premier League. However, his previous suitors in Chelsea have not yet returned to show any interest whatsoever, because they were interested in signing him in January, and United sort of botched those deals because Napoli were the other team that were really, really keen on signing Alejandro Garnacho. United, I think, I do not know, or were reluctant to sell. I'm not sure, but at least we know for a fact he ended up staying. Now they want him off their books. So then the situation with Anthony is that he would prefer to return to Real Betis. Real Betis may not have, the financial resources for a permanent transfer at the moment, and yet United would be seeking that. Tyler Malacia went on loan to PSV Eindhoven for the second part of the season, pretty much like Anthony had been away to Real Betis for the second part of the season, where they all performed really well. But with Tyler Malacia helping PSV win the Dutch Eredivisie, but they are not taking them up on that offer to sign him permanently. Then, so really, when you look at all those players that United want to move on, now away from those 5 that have requested to leave the club, United would be willing to listen to offers for players like Casemiro, players like Luke Shaw, players like Andre Onana, and yet those offers have not come. And it's for those very reasons, excuse me, that United fans are sort of online ranting, slamming the club for their, snail's pace in regards to conducting summer transfer business. In terms of moving on players, in terms of bringing in players, they've so far had 2 incomings. That's in Matthias Cunha for £62.5 million, signed from Wolverhampton. Signed from Wolverhampton Wanderers. While the other player that they did recruit is a left back, Diego Leon. That's the Paraguayan international, or there. So because he joined Manchester United formally about 2 days ago. Very, very interesting youngster. Of course, he's good with crossing the ball. He's good with in some one-on-one situations, but sometimes his positioning is a bit lacking. So that's something that ought to be coached, maybe, and maybe possibly. Ruben Amorim is banking on that he will be able to coach him into that. Then we do remember, I think, given his picture that he wants to play with the back 3 and wing backs, I think this speaks to, you remember, that was I think in January when they went on and signed Patrick Togu. So to try and build this Manchester United squad that is in the shape of what Ruben Amorim would really, really want in regards to the new style that he's bringing to Manchester United. You remember they signed him from Lecce. That was in January. I think he had been at Lecce for about 2 seasons. About a year and a half, maybe. So very, very interesting youngster in Patrick Togo. But let's wait and see how Lyon would fare on. So essentially, that's the kind of business that Man United have been able to do. But even for Diego Leon, he is a player that was signed earlier and he only arrived this summer. So he was signed from that Cerro Porteño. Yes, Cerro Porteño. That's the former club that he was playing for. So, like I said, a lot of frustration going in among Manchester United fans. But like I said, they may need to have to be a little more patient. I know things will take shape as this month continues to go. The challenge is that we are what 4 or 5 weeks, about 5 weeks or so away from the kick of the Premier League. And usually managers want new players to come in as early as possible so that they be part of a preseason, so that they get to, build their chemistry with the rest of the squad, so that they gel with the team and things of that nature, so that when the season kicks off, things get going. Now, I maybe it's typical. It's been typical of Man United fans that even when things are not really good, just imagine they go on to have a very poor summer for as long as the season starts, and on the opening weekend they can beat up against Arsenal or Old Trafford, and possibly some way manage to beat up against Man City, pick up a point against Liverpool. They will be happy with that. They will be happy with that. They won't be satisfied really, but in a way they will be happy with that. But they are really, really desperate for a squad revamp. I, I do not know. There's a lot of Manchester United players that have question marks on them. We know they've been already exits. Johnny Evans has retired from football professionally after leaving the club, but he was retained as a club employee in charge of loans and in charge of loans. Then that's player loans. Then Christian Eriksen has left the club. So there's been those kinds of exits for players that have had their contracts run out. Victor Lindelof, I'm interested to see whether Man United will be adding the centre back to their ranks, because they already have Lisandro Martinez, Lenio, Harry Maguire, Matthias De Ligt. That's for centre backs. I think those would be enough, given that Man United are going to be playing mainly only in the Premier League. Evers Edits, yo, how are you, my brother? Good morning. Welcome back to the channel once again. Please do us the absolute routine favor and like the podcast. I did miss you for the last couple of days. I do not know where you had disappeared to or whether you are busy, but I hope life is working out for you well. Evers Edits, thank you so much for sparing it a moment to be with us. So, in that kind of sense, so I think those 4 centre backs would be sufficient for Man United. I was ill. Okay, sorry about that. I hope you recovered well. But if you've not yet recovered, we wish you a speedy recovery. So that you recover well, full on, so that you can get back to your, respective hustle. So if because Man United are going to be playing in the Premier League as the dominant competition, and then the FA Cup doesn't come until January, and then of course the Carabao Cup does come during the course of the season. I think United may start getting engaged in maybe around September, or even October, depending on how things go. I don't think they need to add another centre back. If they can find a buyer for Andre Onana, they should look to move him on and sign an alternative. I know they've made inquiries about Emi Martinez from Aston Villa. They've made inquiries about Andre Lunin at Real Madrid. They made inquiries about the Atlanta Italian goalkeeper Casenecchi. So let's wait and see. Because AC Monaco, who had earlier won in the summer, been reported to have some form of interest in the 29-year-old Cameroon goalkeeper, have sort of since cooled down their interest. So let's wait and see how things will develop there. Then the other place where they need to, I think, strengthen for me is particularly in midfield. I think they need a number 8. They may sort of disagree. From which country are you from? I'm from Uganda. Thanks for asking. The country is called Uganda. The region is called East Africa. The continent is called Africa. And particularly the city is the capital of the country is called Kampala, in case you're wondering. But thanks for your question, Evers Edits. Where are you from? But I seem to remember you telling us that you're from India. I stand to be corrected, but from as far as my recollection goes, you are from India. But thanks for that. So they need to strengthen that midfield. That's for Man United. So for me, I think they need a number 8. Douglas Luiz, if he were to come, I think he would start ahead of Emmanuel Ugarte, who they signed last summer from Paris Saint-Germain quite expensively. And if they were to get good offers, like I said, I think they will be happy to let go of Casemiro, because I think he has only 1 year left to his current contract and is on really, really high wages. So it could give them a different dynamism of food for thought if an offer were to come in for him, although the player seemed reluctant to make a move to the Saudi Pro League, where he had a majority of his interest. Italian clubs are interested, could be interested, but then I do not think they are willing to spend on him in regards to transfer fees. So let's wait on that situation. You never know how things may change for the better at the, as we approach towards the tail end of this summer transfer window. Then up front, of course, they're already trying to make changes there. They've already recruited Matas Cunha, like we talked about. They continue with discussions for Brandon Bomo from Brentford, although they are yet to reach an agreement on a transfer fee between themselves and Brentford. They've had their 2 bids turned down. So basically, you are born in another country. Not really, Evers Edits. You say, so basically you are born in another country, but live in Kenya. No, I do not live in Kenya. I live in Kampala. Okay. Take this example that you have, Kenya is only our neighbors, the way Pakistan are neighbors with India. That's how I would, explain it. So I'm not from Kenya. I've actually never traveled to Kenya, surprisingly. But I'm from Uganda. It's sometimes called the Pearl of Africa. So you can try and Google it. You'll see the map that Uganda is a standard, a small landlocked country, and bordering Kenya, Tanzania in the south, Kenya in the east, DRC Congo in the west, and then you have South Sudan in the north. Then in the southwest you have Rwanda and Burundi. So like that. So that's where I'm from. Anyways, I hope that paints for you the picture correctly in regards to your question. So then we know that the Man United are open to moving on Rasmus Højlund, although the player would prefer to stay and fight for apparently his place in the team. So and in the wake of their search for a striker, they are indeed really, really searching for a striker. Remember, for the last, I think, 2 years, 2-3 years, they signed Rasmus Højlund quite expensively from Atlanta. Last summer, they signed Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna. His debut season was poor, to say the least, because he could only score 3 Premier League goals. And now they are in the market for a striker. They've been linked with a potential move for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is a free agent after leaving Everton at the end of his contract. But signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be taking a huge gamble for Man United, given his injury track record. Then they've also been linked with a potential move for 29-year-old Aston Villa striker, that's Ollie Watkins. Now, again, I've said this before, that if Man United really, really want a striker, they need to get somebody that is ready. And in regards to being Premier League ready, I do not think, given where Man United are, they're going to get anybody better than Ollie Watkins. Yes, Mbeumo can play in that role, but we know Mbeumo loves to play off the wing, and Ruben Amorim wants to play with 2 10s. So he wants to play with Cunha and Brian Mbeumo, and then with another striker ahead of them. And I do not think anybody comes better than Ollie Watkins. It's not to say that the Premier League doesn't have better strikers, because there's Alexander Isak, there's Erling Haaland, but you and I both know they're not going to get their hands anywhere near on either of those two. So it leaves them with that option. They've been linked with a potential move for Victor Osimhen. Now they've not really made advances on that front, who I think would be also a good fit for them if they were to get him. Quite very powerful player, very athletic, can sort of mug off defenders, doesn't get knocked around the park really. So I think he could be a good signing, but whether they will get him or not remains to be seen. Galatasaray are equally keen on taking him back, having played for them for last season on a season-long loan, and he scored about 41 goals in 47 appearances across all competitions. So that's that situation. They've made inquiries about Hugo Ekitike, who is also a primary target for Liverpool and Chelsea as well. Now, if Liverpool were able to move on Darwin Núñez, then rest assured they will be United or any other suitors to the signing of Hugo Ekitike. But all clubs I know will be reluctant to pay the price tag of 100 million euros that has been tagged on the 23-year-old French striker who scored 15 goals and provided 8 assists last campaign in the German Bundesliga. Now, and this is what I think there's a bit of consistency with that. What's up, champ? Good morning, Peter Parker. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here with us, Peter Parker. How have you been? How was your weekend, Peter? So if I do not know, I think, but again, this speaks to what I discussed about in one of our videos. For those of you that do adherently follow this channel, and this was about 3 weeks ago, when we spoke about Florian Wirtz, and the headline to that video was how Liverpool's 150 million euro Florian Wirtz deal could sell the market for others in this transfer window. And I mean, it couldn't have been more true with that anticipation, because you look at clubs in German Bundesliga, RB Leipzig are unwilling to budge on their 90 million euro asking price tag for Benjamin Sesko, which Arsenal did not want to pay, and that's why they've since moved on. They've since pivoted to trying to sign Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. Then you have Hugo Ekitike at Eintracht Frankfurt. Liverpool are interested, United are interested, Chelsea are interested, and they've all been told that it will cost them 100 million euros, which I think is quite a high fee. Peter says Real Madrid and PSG are unstoppable. What do you think? Who's gonna score first? If I had to take a bet, I'd say PSG. They just have a knack of getting away with things in one way or the other, and they just do not concede too many goals. But let's discuss that in a bit, because we also get to discuss that fixture later tonight in a bit in a wider context. But let me give you more of my views on that in a bit. Let me first conclude on that German situation. So you have Bayern Munich themselves trying to sign Nick Woltmann from Stuttgart, and although Stuttgart denied it, that they were going to ask for 100 million euros from Bayern Munich if they are trying to sign Nick Woltmann. They've already agreed to personal terms with the player on a 5-year contract that earns him about 7.5 million euros per annum, and if add-ons are achieved, then it could rise up to 10 million euros per season. So you look at that, and you're thinking, okay, let's say they're not going to ask for 100 million euros and it's 80 million euros. It would still be high for a player like Nick Woltmann. So, I mean, that's what Liverpool's deal to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen for that high fee is sort of doing in this transfer market. In terms of soiling the market, that's how I view it. Really, that's how I view it. And in Nick Woltmann, some of you have seen him at the German national team. Last season, he played 28 games and scored 12 goals and provided 2 assists. I see the yellow duck is back here with us. Hello, how are you doing? It's been a minute. The Yellow Diet. How are things in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur? I hope you're doing well. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I hope you are too as well. I did miss you for the last couple of days while you are away, but I hope you're okay and nothing is bothering you at the moment. So, anyways, so you look at that kind of valuation and you're thinking to yourself, yes, Bayern Munich are interested. Are they willing to pay the 100 million euros? So, or even slightly less. I mean, it's still a high fee, and the reason why I think primarily these clubs are all sticking it out for those high fees is because Liverpool paid quite highly for Florian Wirtz. So all these clubs are going on about and saying, look, Ahmad Sarawaka currently just finished collecting palm oil to sell. Okay, okay, good, good. Thank you so much. Continue, go on with the hustle. Go on with the hustle. So when you look at that, when you look at that, clubs are simply saying, look, Bayer Leverkusen stuck to their guns and they got 100 million pounds in guaranteed fees plus 16 million pounds in expected add-ons. So we will stick to our guns and milk the best out of whoever is interested in signing any of our players. And basically that's what clubs are going to do with RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko, with Hugo Ekitike for at Frankfurt, and Nick Waltmate at Stuttgart. So do not expect things to be any different or any less. So Man United, I do not see them making that kind of financial outlay for 100 million euros to try and sign Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Then, anyways, let's move away from Man United and their sort of discontentment, their qualms, and everything to do with that. So yesterday we spoke at great length about Arsenal's pursuit for Victor Gyökeres. We spoke about their pursuit for Noni Madueke, too much to the contrary of to the contrary thoughts of many Arsenal fans. And on that note, therefore, Jesus Christ, I'd said this won't go beyond 30 minutes, but it's already 32 minutes. But anyways, please indulge me as we go through the latest from the transfer gossip and speculation. And we'll kick things off with Chelsea. That Chelsea are expecting offers of more than 50 million pounds for 23-year England international. That's Noni Madueke, who has agreed personal terms with Arsenal over a move. Now, take it from me, Arsenal won't pay more than 50 million pounds for Noni Madueke. I do not think there's a single club out there that is going to pay for that. Is he an exciting player? Pretty much so. Has he shown signs of progress? Yes. As low as that progress could be, there is signs of progress. I do not think. In fact, the player that they signed for about, was it 23 to about 30 million pounds, according to different sources, I think Arsenal should not be paying more than 35 million pounds, possibly rising to 40, maybe 42, depending on what the achievable add-ons could be. But 50 million pounds, I certainly do not think he's really worth that. I'd then rather you maybe find different options and look at that. Then Tottenham and West Ham United remain in talks over a deal for Ghana midfielder Muhammad Kudus after the Hammers rejected an initial bid of 50 million pounds for the 24-year-old Ghanaian international. Then Sporting Lisbon's 27-year-old Victor Gyökeres is prepared to give about 2 million euros in wages to help facilitate a move to Arsenal. And that's according to record in Portuguese. Now, somebody asked a question this morning. Why is Victor Gyökeres desperate to join Arsenal? Well, it could be many reasons. It could be a dream move for him, that he's for long wanted to play for a team like Arsenal. It could be that Mikel Arteta's phone call pitch really got him excited about the potential move. Two, three is that he's already in disarray with Sporting Lisbon because of what he believes is a breach of the gentleman's agreement. So he's desperate to leave Sporting Lisbon, and one of the major suitors for him is Arsenal. He's apparently turned down lucrative deals from the Saudi Pro League, preferring to return to the Premier League where he played before at Brentford. Sorry, not Brentford, at Brighton and Hove Albion before making this. Then went out on loan at Swansea and Coventry, and where he was signed permanently, played there for 2 good seasons, and then joined Sporting CP. So there's that. So then you have, meanwhile, Arsenal were linked with RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko 22, but the German is asking price tag of, is what put the Gunners off. We've spoken about that. That's according to Sky German. While Borussia Dortmund are looking to extend the loan for Chelsea midfielder Kanare Chukwuemeka, 21, with the English youngsters £40 million release clause making a permanent deal unlikely. Now, Chelsea are reluctant to let go of some of these players on loan. They want permanent movaways from them, but let's wait and see. Then Chelsea need to raise more than £60 million in sales to be able to register their new signings for this season's Champions League. We all know that Chelsea were fined for being found in breach over the UEFA financial fair play rules. They were fined €31 million. So, they need to make some player sales. Things are good for them in as far as the profit and sustainability rules of the Premier League are concerned. But in regards to the UEFA's financial fair play rules, things are not looking pretty there. Things are not looking pretty at all. Then Crystal Palace are close to signing Ajax's 27-year-old left back, Bona Sosa, for £2 million. That's according to the Athletic. While Cologne striker, the Moyne Downs is expected to have his medical at Southampton on Tuesday. The 21-year-old American will sign a 4-year deal with the Championship club. That's according to Florian Plettenberg of Sky Germany. Then Roma are interested in signing 24-year-old Brighton and Denmark midfielder Matt O'Reilly. By the way, James, there's a player called James McAtee at Manchester City, a midfielder, very, very exciting youngster. Some German clubs have been linked with a potential move for him, but I think he could use maybe a loan deal to get more guaranteed playing time elsewhere away from Man City. Meanwhile, Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen is prepared to join Galatasaray, where he was on loan last season, but the Turkish club will have to pay Napoli at least £65 million release clause, as the Italian club are not prepared to take any less. That's according to Corriere at the Sport. Now, I think for those interested in signing Victor Osimhen, they are better off waiting until towards the tail end of this summer, because trust me, Napoli want to sell because they want to get him off their wage bill. 2, he is not willing to go to the Saudi Pro League, where there's been all sorts of lucrative offers, especially from teams like Al Hilal. So if I'm Galatasaray, I'd simply have to wait it out and say, look, we'll try to make a move late, very, very late this summer. The player already knows we are willing to sign him. He knows what our offer of wages is. And if we can reach an agreement on personal terms, that will be well and good. And then we'll wait to strong arm Napoli into selling, because the transfer window will be winding down and they need to move him on. The Leeds are interested in Hoffenheim's Anton Stach, but will face competition for the 26-year-old German midfielder's signature. That's according to Kicker in German. Everton is Idris Ganagay. This one signed a 1-year contract extension with an option to extend that for a further year. 35 years of age, but still quite energetic. Then Genoa sporting director Flavio Richardella agreed a deal to sign Jamie Vardy, only for manager Patrick Vieira to veto the move of the 38-year-old former England striker who was released by Leicester City last week. That's according to La Repubblica in Italy. The Norwich agreed a deal to sign 23-year-old Denmark defender Matthias Vestergaard from Brøndby, yes, in Denmark. So, anyways, guys, that's the latest from the transfer speculation and gossip from some of your favorite clubs. We will keep our eyes and ears to the ground, peeled out for any, news. We do know that Fenerbahce completed the signing of John Duran on a one-season-long loan from Al Nassr. Then Fenerbahce are also pushing to get Milan Skriniar deal done from PSG. Talks are ongoing. Then keep your eyes on Arsenal's pursuit for Victor Gyökeres. That is really going to make the headlines during the course of this week. Then anyways, so there's that. Anyways, it's been a pleasure doing this with you. I see it's already 40 minutes of today's broadcast. I wish you the very best of today. Go out and enjoy yourselves. Go out and hustle. Let's meet again later tonight. Bye-bye.